y'all, it's Nita and I'm back today with a new series for my channel. I used to have a makeup class called Diva Basics 101, and it was all about what I call the basics every diva should know about makeup. And so I figured, since I haven't done the class in a while, people been asking me about it, I was like, why don't I bring it to my YouTube channel? So it's pretty much a beginner's makeup series, and so today we're going to talk about one of the things that I get asked the most, which is how to find your foundation shade, right? I will start by saying that most of the time you won't find a shade that matches you dead on. It's very rare that you find something that matches you like to the T, but you know, we're going to get as close as we possibly can, okay? All right, so first things first, we're going to talk about the foundation types, different types of foundations. You have powder foundation, you have tinted moisturizers or BB creams or CC creams and all those. You have liquid foundations, cream foundations. Now the most popular foundation, the most that you'll see everywhere, is a liquid foundation. That is these. Liquid foundations. Now liquid foundations can be full coverage, it can be medium coverage, it could be light coverage. Typically it will say it on the bottle, on the packaging, on the website, whatever. But typically liquid foundations are medium to full coverage. You want to know what kind of coverage you're looking for so you can know what foundation type will be best for you. Like I said, liquid is the most popular. It is usually medium to full coverage, buildable coverage. Cream foundation is full coverage foundation. I wouldn't recommend a cream foundation for every day. I would recommend that more so for photo shoots or your wedding day or something like that, because it is typically a fuller coverage. Then you have your tinted moisturizers and BB creams, which are great for ladies who just want a little something but don't want full-on foundation. So a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream or a CC cream, I think there's something. They got all kind of things these days, but those are, like I said, it's just like the name says, a tinted moisturizer. It gives you a little bit of coverage, but more so, you know, something lightweight, just to kind of even out your skin tone. For my ladies who just maybe have a few blemishes or maybe have a few little imperfections, but you don't want to wear a full-on foundation, something really light, you would like a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream. And then you have your powder foundation. Now I am not an advocate for wearing powder foundation by itself. I just don't like the way it looks. I feel like you need at least a tinted moisturizer or something underneath the powder, but you know, try and see what works for you. So the powder foundations that I have experience with using are the MAC Pro Longwear powders, and I can't even find, I thought I had one to show you guys. I don't have one to show you guys, but I'll try to find one and insert a picture. But MAC has they have their regular Pro Longwear powders. They also have a cream to powder foundation, which is also really good. If you want, again, full coverage, but you want something a bit quicker, powder foundations or cream to powder foundations are really quick. Iman also has a nice powder foundation. I don't know if they still sell it in the drugstore. They used to sell Iman cosmetics in like Walmart's and CVS and Walgreens. I haven't seen it in a while, but if I can find it, I'll link it below. But Iman does have a nice powder foundation. And powder foundation is really good for oily girls. If you're dry, I wouldn't recommend powder. But it's good for oily girls or somebody who wants a little bit of something, but you want to do it quick. Because it's not a cream or a liquid, it won't get everywhere. It's just powder. It's just a quick, easy something to give you, you know, a little bit of coverage and a little bit of something without doing the most, okay? So I hope that explains the different foundation types. You have your powders, your tinted moisturizers and BB creams, your liquid, and your cream. Today we're going to talk about liquid foundations because, again, they're the most popular, the most common, and that's what I use on myself personally. So after you decide what foundation type you want to wear, like I said, I'm going to do liquid. Then you want to decide if you want to do matte, if you want dewy, you know, what kind of finish you want. So because I have combination skin, I always, 99% of the time, I do a matte foundation or a natural finish foundation. Matte just simply means kind of like matte paper or whatever. It has no shine to it. So when you put the foundation on, once it dries down matte, meaning there's no shine. If you're dry, you might not want a matte foundation. I'm not going to say you don't want it, but I'm sorry, because a matte foundation gives a no shine look, and if you're already dry, that foundation could be a little drying to you, but you can just counteract it by doing like a really good moisturizer underneath the matte foundation if you find one that you like and you want to use it. And then your luminous foundations, your dewy foundations, your glow foundations, those are your hydrating foundations. Those are going to be great for my dry girls because it's going to hydrate the skin. It's going to have a sheen or a glow once it dries down. It will not be matte, aka no shine. It's going to have a shine. It's going to have a natural glow to the foundation. So if you're oily, you know, you want to shy away from those luminous foundations. Again, unless maybe you have an adventure going, so you're doing a photo shoot or something, you're not going to wear the foundation long. It'll give you the look that you're going for, but over time, I mean, if you're already oily and then the foundation is giving a sheen look, it's just going to be a disaster by the end of the day if you're wearing this like all day. Again, you can kind of counteract that by doing like a mattifying primer underneath your foundation. I just say, again, if we're talking about just beginners and basics, I would just shy away from it. If you're normal, you can go either way. If you have normal skin, you're not oily but you're not dry, you can do a luminous foundation, you can do a matte foundation. Again, it's just your personal preference for you normal ladies. Again, if you're oily, you definitely want to go with a matte foundation, and then if you're dry, you may want to do a luminous or hydrating or dewy foundation. Those are the different types for that. Again, I'm combination, so I definitely steer towards matte foundations, or I do like the skin-like or satin finishes. Alright, so once you figured out what type of foundation you're going to use, again, we're using liquid today, that's what I like. And once you figure out the type of finish that you want, again, I'm going to be doing a matte finish because I am combination skin. Then now it is time to find your shade match. Now, most people talk about, you know, finding your undertones, if you're cool, if you're warm, if you're neutral, which I do think it helps to know. But honestly, especially these days, I don't feel like companies are really being true to the undertones. Like, you'll find something that says it has a warm undertone, but it'll be more neutral, or if it's cool, I just don't even focus on undertones, honestly. I focus on the swatch because, again, the description can tell you one thing and you put it on your hand and you're like, this does not look warm to me, or this does not look cool to me. So I like to actually just swatch the foundations. But for, you know, tutorial purposes and learning purposes, educational purposes, I'm definitely, I'm warm, and I can also be neutral. If you're warm, you typically look best in gold jewelry. You also look best in warm tones like yellows and oranges and corals and stuff like that look great on you. I forget what color they say your veins would be. My veins are green. I don't know. And then if you're cool, you typically look better in silver jewelry, and you look better in cooler tones, which is greens and purples and stuff like that. So, and then if you're neutral, you look great in everything, girl. So just think about, I know for me, every time I wear yellow or orange, I mean, it just makes my skin pop. Like, that's like the best color for me if I'm choosing something. Again, I am warm, so that makes sense. But again, for you, if you look great in, if you look best in yellows and oranges and corals, then you're definitely warm. If you look best in greens or blues or purples, then you'll be cool. If you look best in olive and honey, then you are neutral. Alright, so I have a few of my foundations here. And I'm just going to swatch them like I would if I was in a drugstore. Also, one tip to note, when you're in a store purchasing foundation, specifically like a Sephora, a Ulta, a MAC counter, something like that, I always recommend, if you're not sure, get a sample and take it home to try it out at home in natural lighting. The lighting at a lot of the drugstores and stuff are bright. They kind of wash you out sometimes. And I don't know if y'all ever been to a counter, but for me, when I went to a counter and I try on something, I'm in a store, I'm like, oh, this look good, this look cute. And you get outside and you're like, oh my God, this looks a fool. It's just the difference in lighting sometimes. So I always say, if you go into the counter and they match you, or you match yourself to something you think it looks great inside the store, ask for a sample. They will always give you, Ulta doesn't give samples, I don't think, but I know for sure Sephora, you know, MAC, NARS, all of the counters, they give a sample. So you ask for a sample, take it home, put it on yourself in natural lighting, and see how you like it in your normal, you know, lighting at home, outside in natural light, at work, things like that. And then also it'll give you a chance to kind of test the foundation and see how it wears, if you get too oily through the day, if it makes you dry, if it breaks you out, all of that before you spend your money on the foundation. I mean, you can of course return it, but I feel like why not just try it out before you actually buy it versus having to make a return. So that is a good tip. Definitely try out your foundations in natural lighting. Right now I don't have a lot of natural light because it's cloudy outside, so I have a bunch of lights on me and they're kind of washing me out, so we'll see how this goes. So as you can see, I swatched them on the side of my face and that's how they look. But when I'm in the store, what I actually like to do, or when I'm thinking about matching something, I like to match my face to my chest. The reason I say that is because most women of color, just for me personally, and then also in my experience as a makeup artist, I find that most of us are different shades, different places. Like, as you can see, my hands are darker than the rest of my body, and they're ashy, but don't mind that. But my hands are darker than the rest of my body, literally. No other place on my body is this dark. And I don't know if it's because I shampoo hair all day or what, but my hands are dark, and then my chest is kind of warm, and then my face in certain areas is lighter than my chest. So you don't want to walk around with, like, if I just matched my face and didn't worry about my chest, my face would be lighter than my chest, okay? Or let's say if I match my hands, I don't know why you would, but let's say, you know how when you're in the store, you're trying foundation on your hand. If I was to try some foundation on my hand and go to my hand, my face would be darker than my hand. So I always like to match your chest, because I feel like, I mean, you think about when you're out and about, if you're taking pictures, if I took a picture from here up, you want this to be the same color. You don't want your face to be lighter than your chest. You're looking like Michael Jackson. You definitely don't want your face to be darker than your chest because you're looking, you know, like you did blackface or something. So I always say general rule of thumb is to try to match your chest. You match your face to your chest. So in some cases I've seen women who their face is darker than their chest, or their face is darker than the rest of their body, or your neck is darker. So I always say to match your chest. So instead of trying out foundation on my hand in the store, I try it on my jaw as well, but then I also put it on my chest. So that's what we're going to do next, is try the foundation on our chest. So this is the Fenty Beauty here. I'm not trying to flash y'all, you know. Alright, which looks a little orange. And then we have the Maybelline Freshwear. I used a lot. I was not trying to use this much. But you can see the difference in the undertones in these two foundations when it's on my skin. The Maybelline Freshwear definitely is more yellow, and this is definitely more of a reddish orange undertone. So when we're talking about undertones and stuff, that's how, I mean, this is, I feel like, a great example. And then we're going to use the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Which is pretty much perfect. The most expensive foundation will be perfect, right? And then we're going to try out the I could have done this better than this, but you know, here we go. Here we are. We're gonna do this one, which is the MAC Matchmaster foundation. All right. I'm gonna let it dry down for a little bit and then I'll come back. All right, I'm back. I've let my foundation dry down a little bit. As you can see, neither one of these are necessarily a perfect match, is what I was telling you guys, but I'm going to go with, for the sake of today, I'm going to go with the Fenty Beauty. The reason I'm not going to use this one today, the what is this, child? Maybelline Freshwear, or the reason, this is my like perfect foundation shade. This looks amazing. Matter of fact, let me just use this. I don't know, I'm gonna put on one of these, probably one of these two, but the only reason Okay, so when you're, let's say you were at the counter and you look at these and you're like, neither one of these match, but these are all the closest shades to me. Okay, how I choose my foundation is I always go, if I had to choose, I always do the one that's closest to my skin tone but a little bit darker. The reason being is because I highlight and contour, and if your foundation is a tinge bit light and then you're highlighting, then you look lighter. If your foundation is a tinge dark but you're highlighting, it usually evens out, right? I hope that makes sense. I hope there's not too many steps, but that's usually how I look at it. And again, I wanted to show this to you guys because again, I have the hardest time finding a perfect foundation match. I have yet to find, this is probably one of the closest foundations that I found to my shade. And then also the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop, I just can't find it. That's also a really, really close shade. Like I really, really love the Lancome foundation. What is it, the Lancome Tint Idole or whatever. I can't even make one of those foundations work for me. They have nothing to match me. So I'm just one of those people, it's just kind of weird to find my foundation shade, so I figured I would be the perfect person to show you guys how I make it work. So like I said, looking at these, like I said, of course this one is too dark, and if I'm looking on my chest, this one looks a little bit dark, but I make it work. So I think for the purpose of today, I'm going to use, I don't want to use Estee Lauder Double Wear because this is my like going out foundation. So I actually am going to use my Fenty Beauty foundation. I'm going to start with my primer right now. I've been using the Hydro Grip foundation from Milk. Oh, I forgot about this over here, Lord. Hold on. And then also, as I'm putting this foundation on, or well, as I'm priming my face, I'm also noticing, again, talking about how we're all different shades. You see how on my face, like here, I'm lighter, but here I'm darker. I mean, we're just, as women of color, we are very multifaceted. We have all kind of different shades. We're usually darker around our mouth area, which is why, I know we're talking about foundation in this video, but that's also why people typically highlight and contour. Part of it is to bring some depth back into the face, because we naturally have depth. We have highs and lows, we have different tones. Nobody is all one tone. So I'm sorry, nobody is all one tone. So the highlighting and contouring pretty much kind of brings back some of that depth into the face. So again, I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty, and I'm going to pop that on. And I'm going to use my brush. I need to clean it. I used it yesterday, but it's the e.l.f. foundation brush. I either use this one, or I do like to use the Real Techniques brush, this one, the smaller one here. I've had these brushes for a long time. The names have rubbed off. And then there's also another one that I like to use. I'll link all the foundation brushes I like to use down below. But you want to just stipple your foundation on. When I'm putting on my foundation, I like to use a full, thick, dense brush, because I feel like it packs on the foundation better than like a flimsy brush or a smaller brush. And then you also just kind of want to make sure the brush that you're using is good in relation to your face. Some people have smaller faces or like smaller areas, then you would do better with a smaller brush than like a larger brush. That makes a difference as well. I'm still recovering from my holiday breakouts. So I got breakouts all in my chin area. And when you do your foundation, ladies, make sure that you're getting your ear area, make sure you're getting under your chin, make sure you're getting all of that, and take it into your hairline. You want to get all of that. All right, I'm gonna use a teeny bit more right in here. And like I said, most foundation is a buildable coverage, meaning once you put it on, if you want some more, if you want fuller coverage, you can build it without it looking like super cakey. I would always say start with a little bit and work your way up rather than to start with too much and then you're looking crazy. All right, so as you can see, we're all done. Foundation is on and nothing else, but as you can see, I'm not looking like the crazy lady, you know what I'm saying? My face pretty much matches my chest. It is a little bit darker, but not nothing crazy. And like I said, the reason I would rather go a little bit darker than too light is because I am going to highlight, and once I highlight under my eyes and stuff, it brightens up the face anyway. And if your foundation is too light, then you put in light concealer and all of that, then you're just looking like a ghost. And nobody got time for that. So I always would prefer to go a teeny bit darker than to have the foundation too light. But that is what we're looking like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my foundation off camera and come back to show you how it turned out. Ow! Alright, you guys, so this is the final look after I highlight, contour, threw on lashes, my wig, you know, the whole shebang. But I didn't even think about when I put this turtleneck on that y'all wouldn't be able to see like my chest. See, I'm not trying to flash y'all. I'm just trying to show you guys how everything comes together. Even though that foundation was a little bit dark, you see now it looks freaking amazing, right? So I definitely hope that this video was helpful for you guys looking to find your perfect foundation shade, because again, I have yet to find there are 2 foundations in all of the ones that I try, because I love to try foundations, my favorite part of makeup. But there's only 2 foundations that I found that match me spot on. Everything else I have to kind of find something that works. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I can't talk. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and please comment down below and let me know if this was helpful for you guys and if you want to learn more. Again, I did film the highlighting and contouring process. That will be a separate video that I will have uploaded next week. So stay tuned, turn your notifications on so you will never miss an upload, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.